have I gained with my experience at Colt? Well, firstly, I think I've made a lot of friendships here, and it's been really great to get to know the students. I've also found that I've come to understand Turkish culture in a way that I don't think I otherwise would have. I mean, certainly I've made friends outside, but in these conversation circles, oftentimes we went to some of the core issues that face Turkish society, or even just daily problems and fun things that the students I would have encountered. So I think those are the most personal experiences for me. Do I think that being a conversation circle leader has made an impact on my career? It's hard to tell. I have considered being an English language instructor for second language students, but I don't think it's a likely career choice. That being said, I think this experience has really taught me how to engage with people whose English isn't quite as good as mine, and it's also assisted me in being more of an empathetic person as well. What suggestion do I have for upcoming conversation circle leaders? Come as you are, and come with the mindset of wanting to learn from the students. I think rather than looking at this as just strictly a program to teach English, while that's an important objective, I think that comes more naturally with the mindset of trying to exchange ideas about cultures and personal lives. Suggestions I have for prospective students. Something that I regularly told students that would come in for the first time would be either hello in Turkish or how are you in Turkish, and they would immediately get the idea that while their English might be poor, so they think, my Turkish is worse than theirs. And I think but I mean, from what I've learned in my own experience of learning Turkish, the more you speak, the more you participate, the faster you learn the language. And I think, as me kind of being somewhat of a shy person at times, I have really learned how to overcome this feeling of self-consciousness. So as a person who's been there, if you also encounter these similar emotions, I encourage you to look at your language difficulties with a little more levity and humor. So, most exciting, interesting experiences I've had in Colt are probably due to this one guy who would come in, and whenever he'd walk in, I would get a little bit excited for the next session, because he would always bring up some really tricky questions. Sometimes I felt like he was being kind of another conversation circle leader, because he just knew how to ask some of these questions that really would divide the room, such as what do you think of the Gezi protests, or construction on this side of the Bosphorus, or maybe less seriously, just different psychology questions, because that was his specialty. What surprised me most about the Turkish students? I think what would surprise me the most is when I felt like I was closer to them. In my own experience, I mean, in the United States, I think when people meet each other, it starts off with a smile, no matter what, or very often for that matter. In Turkey, it's a little different. People here are just as friendly, but there's this moment when you just realize, wow, I'm really friends with this person. It's just a cool feeling, because sometimes it doesn't seem to come from anywhere. Other times you see it coming. I think that it's weird, but I think it's cool.